The United Nations expert says the departure of the President Saleh December 2017 fragmented the political scene in Yemen. December 2nd uprising was meant to free women from Houthi oppression. The United Nations says aid workers face increasing violence in Houthi-controlled areas. Good evening. Welcome to Yemen Today TV. I'm Abir Ali and you are watching the English News. On the 5th anniversary of the assassination of the former President Ali Abdullah Saleh in December 2017, Fernando Carvalho, a former member of the United Nations panel of experts, told Yemen Today TV that the news of the former president's execution by the Houthis caused great shock in the political scene in Yemen.
I landed in New York the day that it was reported that Ali Abdullah Saleh had been executed in Sana'a. So really, this conflict, this incident, particular incident, turned all of our analysis upside down on its head.
Recalling President Saleh's major achievements during his years of rule, the United Nations experts said Saleh commendable efforts to build an emerging democracy model unique of its type in the region.
If we are about to talk about anything done by Ali Abdullah Saleh in the 2000s, we need to talk about 2006 and his project of devolution.
Yes.
In that presidential election, he announced his project of devolution, imperfect as it was. And this was the first time in 2006 where Yemenis voted for their governor. Before that, the president appointed the governors, right?
True.
So when we look at that progress from 1993 to 2006, this was perhaps one of his milestone achievements, right, in his presidency.
Another important issue that characterized the era of former President Ali Abdullah Saleh, according to Carvalho, was his support of the political participation of the Yemeni women.
The second issue that we look at is political participation by women.
Yes.
And that takes us to 2010. The beginning of the conflict for the Arab Spring, where Ali Abdullah Saleh and Al-Mu'tamar submitted the amendments in order to increase the number of women, right, participation, which was instantly opposed by Al-Islah at the time.
The United Nations experts touch also on an important issue which late President Ali Abdullah Saleh contributed significantly, that is, the war on terror. He said Saleh was a key ally to the United States and the United Kingdom in the international war against terror.
After 9/11, we see Ali Abdullah Saleh being invited to Georgia with President George W. Bush. This is a big step to the international stage for Ali Abdullah Saleh, right? This is the pivotal point in his presidency where he gains international legitimacy and attention, right?
Carvalho added that the departure of former leader Ali Saleh was a strong blow to the GPC party and caused irreversible damage to the political scene in Yemen.
Definitely December 2017 is where we have the collapse of the political scene, in the political structure in Yemen, and the killing of Ali Abdullah Saleh fragmented the party completely. Beyond the start of the war in 2015 with President Hadi. The execution of Ali Abdullah Saleh really collapses the structure of Al-Mu'tamar.
The former United Nations expert in Yemen concluded the interview saying that despite Ali Abdullah Saleh was quite a controversial politician, he is still considered one of the most important leaders who have ruled Yemen in recent history.
May love to criticize the 33 years of Ali Abdullah Saleh, but we can't deny the fact that since 1978, he managed to create himself. He was a young man in 1978, but he managed to create himself as a center of gravity for Yemeni politics, which had not existed since, let's say the Imamic era, right?
Exactly.
But he became the pragmatic, the charismatic leader that Yemen rallied around, whether you hated him as a secularist or otherwise. We can't deny the fact that he became the central figure in politics in Yemen for 33 years.
December 2nd uprising was a response to the call made by the former President Ali Abdullah Saleh. He called on the masses to revolt against the Houthi militia in Sana'a. This report has more details.
Yemenis are marking the anniversary of December 2, 2017 uprising led by the late President Ali Abdullah Saleh against the Iran-backed Houthis. The commandments of the leader Ali Abdullah Saleh in the uprising of December 2, 2017 represented a declaration to the Yemeni people to resist the Houthi militia supported by Iran as it's a terrorist group. President Ali Abdullah Saleh's call came after the failure of all attempts with the Iranian-backed terrorist Houthi militia in order for it to be a de facto authority. One of the most prominent commandments of the leader Ali Abdullah Saleh on the day of December 2 uprising was his assurance to the Yemeni people of revolting against the Houthi militia. The rejection of the General People's Congress and the President Ali Abdullah Saleh to the policy of the Houthis and their sectarian approach represented a cultural and political resistance and a rejection of their misguided ideas that are alienated from the culture and identity of the Yemeni people. The capital Sana'a and a number of governorates under the control of the Houthi militia witnessed a security alert with the advent of December 2 uprising, which was called for by the leader Ali Abdullah Saleh. The Houthi militia imposed strict security measures in the capital Sana'a, and that a number of Houthis military and preventive security personnel deployed at the entrance of Sana'a for fear of celebration by opponents of the Houthi coup and the occurrence of demonstrations and protests in Sana'a and the rest of the areas controlled by the Houthis, amid calls from the supporters of the late President Saleh to celebrate December 2 uprising. December uprising did not stop with the departure of Ali Abdullah Saleh. The commandments of the leader shall be ignited by generations to come.
The December uprising was meant to free Yemeni women from the oppression machine of the Houthi militia. Houthis committed violations against women since they seized power in 2014. This report has more.
Following the popular uprising of December 2nd, 2017, unspeakable human rights violations in Houthi-controlled areas increased at a frightening pace, particularly against Yemeni women who have lost much of their autonomy under Houthi control. These women were subjected to a long list of horrible atrocities perpetrated by the Houthi militia and deprived of fundamental human rights. The uprising of the 2nd of December came as a necessity, coinciding with a peak of widespread national frustration and outrage against Houthi maltreatment of Yemeni women. The uprising rejected the torture, imprisonment, marginalization, displacement of women, and the deprivation of their political role and human rights activities. Since the Houthi coup on September 21, 2014, Yemeni women have been subjected to many violations that deprived them of a dignified existence, in which they had made great advances and occupied the top ranks and leadership positions in the state ladder. Under the guise of religion, the Houthi militia, whose ideals are as antiquated as their actions are tyrannical, has subjected women to a crucible of isolation and mistreatment. Among these acts are the kidnapping and disappearance of female activists, rape, fabrication of malicious accusations, and sham trials against professionals in different sectors. Unsatiated, the militia used a force of weapons to stifle the efforts of activists, imprisoning many of them, causing the disappearance of others, and exerting pressure on the families of other activists and members of the civil society to keep them confined to their homes. The militia also exploited the difficult financial conditions of Yemeni families to compulsorily recruit their daughters into military ranks. Yemeni women were the heroines of the scene in the uprising of the 2nd of December. They came out to condemn the terrorist crimes committed by the Houthi militia against Ali Abdullah Saleh and Al-Amin Arif al-Zuka, and to declare their support for the uprising that Saleh announced in response to the militia, who had spread corruption throughout the country and terrorized civilians. Ongoing violations call for the continued civil defiance and the commencement of the fight initiated by the late president to preserve democracy, freedom, security, and safety.
The United Nations announced the monitoring of 124 incidents of violence against humanitarian workers in Yemen. OCHA stated that since January 2022, humanitarian partners reported 124 incidents of violence against humanitarian workers and assets. These incidents resulted in death of 1 humanitarian worker and the injury of 4 others. Arab regional human rights organizations warn that the Houthis in Yemen are obstructing girls' education. During the symposium on girls' education in the Islamic world, the organizations called for the participation of officials to reduce the gap between male and female education. A recent study by the Egyptian Center for Women's Rights shed a light on the practice of the Houthis in Yemen, which affected girls' opportunities in education and closing schools. The Houthi militia targeted with a drone a mosque in Hais district. Yemen Today TV reported that the militia targeted the mosque with 2 missiles, which resulted in the killing of 2 citizens and wounding of 3 others. The reporter pointed out that the Houthi bombing caused a state of terror and panic among worshippers and the people adjacent to the bombing site. Coming next in the news. UNICEF said Yemeni children faced dire humanitarian situation.
ننشر ندي ماء من الغيل والغيل هذا بعيد، كنا ندي بالدواب نعبي ماء وترجعنا. كنا ننزل الساعة 5 رجعنا الساعة 9.
ما يجي لنا ظهر لأنه زحمة ما حد يخلي الجهل يغرق وإحنا تعبنا زيادة.
وكنت أحس صدري يوجعني وعز لك ركبي يوجعيني.
كنا ما نستخدم حتى نغسل أولادنا إلا يعني بأيام معدودة.
كنت أغيب على المدرسة لأن كنت أروح الديمة.
حتى وإن كان يجي الأمطار تروح هدر لأنه ما في معيار الزرع.
الوقت نشتري ب30,000 هي معها استهلاك ما يغلقش معها الشهر.
بس راح تطلب الله ولا أي حاجة، عاملة كل شغلك على الماء.
Welcome back. Hadramaut Government witnessed the establishment of the Productive Marketing Exhibition for Productive Families as part of the International Entrepreneurship Day event. This report has more details.
Bushra is a Yemeni citizen who found her opportunity to promote and introduce her clothing products to the market. Through her participation in the Productive Marketing Exhibition that was organized in the city of Mukalla, the capital of Hadramaut Governorate.
The products that I'm displaying today in the exhibition are mainly clothes. I started my project with a little marketing through WhatsApp groups. This was how people knew me and my products. Through my participation today in the exhibition, I had a lot of customers and they liked my products. I also put some items on sale to make it affordable. I would like to ask the authorities to support such initiatives and help women to depend on themselves.
Ilanud Abdullah was also one of the women participating in the exhibition. That represented an open space for her to display her products of cosmetics and accessories that she created in a very artistic way to attract everyone's attention.
This is my first participation in the exhibition. Before I was selling my products through social media platforms. I'm glad I'm here today. People seem to like my products and they are getting to know me through this exhibition. It's better here than the social media. I sell cosmetics and my income rate has improved a lot. We hope they create more of these exhibitions to give us a chance to display our products and attract new customers.
This productive marketing exhibition, which was attended by 23 female producers, and whose organization coincided with the celebrations of the 55th anniversary of the glorious National Independence Day on the 30th of November. It is considered a good initiative towards helping women to promote their products in a way that contributes to improving their standard of living and increases the demand for their products. Many pavilions were included in the exhibition, and their exhibits received great demands and admiration for these distinguished and diverse local products, which are comparable in quality to foreign ones. This acts like a great motivation for its workers to continue production and exert more support and effort for its sustainability, which will enable productive families to obtain an appropriate and continuous income that meets their requirements and needs.
Military sources stated that battles have renewed between the army forces backed by the Popular Resistance and the Houthi militia on the southern front in Ma'rib. Sources indicated that the confrontations took place in Balk front and vicinity of Rish camp and resulted in the militia being killed and wounded, including the Houthi leader, while others of the army forces were killed and wounded. The Houthi militia threatened poor citizens who failed to pay the electricity fees in Hodeidah. According to the sources, a circular issued by the General Electricity Corporation, which is under the control of the Houthis, revealed arbitrary measures against citizens who own homes in Hodeidah and warning them to quickly pay the fees of electricity. An international children's organization reported that Yemen came at the top of the list of 10 worst conflict-affected countries in violations recorded against children during the past year. This report has more details.
An international children's organization reported that Yemen came at the top of the 10 worst conflict-affected countries in violations recorded against children during the past year. Yet it received only 2.3% of media coverage compared to Ukraine. Save the Children said Yemen's record is based on the number of grave violations recorded, the intensity of the conflict, and the increasing proportion and the number of children related to conflict-related violence. The analysis indicated that more than half of the children living in conflict zones in 2021, or about 230 million children, lived in the deadliest countries in conflict, which constitutes an increase of 9% from 2020. The organization added that about 449 million children worldwide, or 1 in 6 children, were living in conflict zone last year. The analysis indicated that the largest number of conflict-affected children recorded last year was in Africa, with 180 million, followed by Asia, 152 million, and the Americas, 64 million. As for the Middle East, it was home to the highest percentage of children living in conflict by 1 child out of 3. According to the analysis, although the recorded number of deaths and injuries among children in conflict areas has decreased by about a third since 2018, the number of child victims during the last year reached more than 8,000 children, at a rate of 22 children per day. Save the Children called for more attention to the violations that children are exposed to all over the world without any discrimination.
Here is a reminder of the main headlines. United Nations experts says the departure of President Saleh in December 2017 fragmented the political scene in Yemen. December 2nd uprising was meant to free women from the Houthi oppression. The United Nations says aid workers face increasing violence in Houthi-controlled areas. This is the end of the news. It was Abir Ali, and thank you for watching.